Coming December 2025, ChatGPT will be crossing a line nobody expected. OpenAI will allow verified adult users to generate erotic content. Yes, you heard it right. And they're calling it treating adults like adults. This is a case study in the ethics crisis that every AI adopting company will face. And in the next couple of minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what this means for your business, for your family, and for the future of AI. I've been analyzing AI developments for 3 years and I've broken down every single OpenAI announcement. But this one is something bigger than ChatGPT. Because what OpenAI just exposed is the question every company building with AI will face. Who gets to decide what's ethical? Who's liable when things go wrong, and what framework do you use to make that call? Now, if you're thinking this is just about porn, it's not, because this is about corporate governance, it's about risk management, it's about stakeholder trust, and whether you're a business leader, if you're a parent, or if you're just someone who's trying to understand where AI is headed, then this moment, it matters, because OpenAI isn't the first company to face this crossroads and it won't be the last. And here's the real question. When your AI does something controversial, when it crosses a line that half of your users love and half of your users hate, what are you gonna do? And who's gonna decide if you're doing the right thing? Your legal team? Your users? Or your regulators who don't understand the technology? Or are you just gonna wing it and hope for the best? That's the position OpenAI is in right now. And if your company is adopting AI customer service, content generation, decision making, then you're next. Remember one thing, every company adopting AI will face this moment. Most won't see it coming, and the ones who are not prepared, well, they're gonna learn the hard way. They're gonna learn through lawsuits, PR disasters, and even regulatory crackdowns. So today I'm gonna walk you through what OpenAI just did, why it matters beyond ChatGPT, and the framework to get through these situations. And I promise by the end of this video, you'll be ahead of 99% of the people who are thinking about AI ethics. Okay, so the facts: on December 1st, 2025, OpenAI is rolling out a policy shift. So verified adult users, which means 18 and older, will be able to request and generate mature content, or whatever that falls under the legal adult content. Now, to access this, you'll need to pass age verification. That means government ID checks, third-party identity services, and AI-powered behavioral analysis that guesses your age based on the way you chat. Now, OpenAI is also adding parental controls, which means the parents can log their kids' account, and they're also setting up advisory policy council to monitor safety. Now, on paper, it sounds responsible, but here's what caught my attention. OpenAI has been under fire for privacy violations, mental health risk, and data misuse. And instead of fixing those issues first, they are now working on this. I mean, this was least expected at this point of time. Now, I'm not here to moralize. Porn is a billion-dollar industry, and the reality is that people want this, and it's coming. But the timing and the priorities by OpenAI, I mean, that's where the things get really interesting. Because here's what the rollout reveals. OpenAI just handed over every AI adopting company a blueprint for how to navigate the impossible trade-offs. The trade-offs between freedom, safety, and profit. Now, if you're a parent watching this or an individual user, then this is what you need to do before December. Number one, enable parental control. So you can go to the GPT settings, find family safety, and lock down your kid's account. Don't wait for it. Number two, disable memory and data sharing. Turn off ChatGPT's memory feature. Opt out of data training. This limits how much they can profile you. And number three, the most important one, talk to your family about AI generated content, because parental control won't catch everything. Your kids need to understand the risk the AI comes with. Now, if you're a business owner, please understand there's a pattern here. AI is incredibly powerful and it can generate value, but it can also generate risks. The faster you move, the harder it gets for you to control where that line gets crossed. Right now, companies are racing to integrate AI into everything: customer service, content creation, decision making, hiring, healthcare, and everyone's optimizing for speed. Ship now, iterate later. But eventually your AI will do something controversial. And when that happens, it'll cross a line. And you will face the exact question OpenAI is facing right now. Do we restrict? Do we open it up? And who gets to decide? Now, most companies don't have a framework to answer these questions. They just react, and that's why they get crushed. So let me show you the exact framework that I use, and it's called the ethics triangle. And once you see it, you'll understand exactly why OpenAI made the choice they did and why your company might face the same impossible trade-off. Now, every AI decision sits at the intersection of three forces: speed, safety, and demand. Most companies will try to optimize all three, but here's a problem. You can't, because these forces are in constant tension. For example, if you prioritize speed, you might ship a product before safety testing is done. If you prioritize safety, you might lose to competitors who move faster. And if you prioritize demand, then you might build something that users love but regulators hate. And that's exactly how companies break, when they optimize for one at the expense of the others. And OpenAI, well, they've been stuck on the safety corner for 2 years now. Users started complaining that ChatGPT was too restrictive, so competitors like Character.ai and Replica, they gave users what they wanted, uncensored AI companions, and that's exactly where OpenAI made a choice. Move with the demand, but keep enough safety measures. Parental controls, age verification, advisory councils, so that they don't get destroyed by any lawsuits or regulations. Is that a right choice? Well, it depends on who you ask, but it's definitely a strategic choice. So here's my question for you. If your company had to make this choice, if your AI crossed some sort of line where half of your users demands freedom while the other half demands safety, what would you do? And do you actually have a framework that's going to work in that situation? Alright, so that's the strategic side, but there's another layer to it that most people aren't even thinking about. The liability. Because even if you make the right ethical choice, that does not mean that you're protected legally. And that is why I'm going to show you why OpenAI's age verification system might not save them from the lawsuits. But first, let me show you the second framework. When something goes wrong with AI, there are 3 levels of liability. Level 1, user error. When the user misuses the product, it's not the company's fault. For example, if a user uses ChatGPT to write a phishing email, well, OpenAI cannot do anything in that. It's not their fault. Level 2, product misuse. The user did something that the product wasn't designed for, but the company didn't prevent it. For example, a teenager bypasses age verification in ChatGPT and gets access to the adult content. Well, that's a gray area, but who's gonna be responsible for it? Whose fault is it? Level 3, design negligence. For example, AI generates harmful content without any warnings or intervention. Well, that's company's fault. Now here's OpenAI's strategy. They're staying at level 1. Age verifications, parental controls, advisory councils. So in case if anything goes wrong, they can very well say that we did everything reasonable, this is user error. But here's a question, is age verification enough? Well, the answer is simple, no. Because teenagers are already good at bypassing age gates. They can use VPNs, they can use fake IDs, they can probably borrow accounts. I mean, a lot of things can be done. And if even one case of a minor accessing explicit content on ChatGPT goes public, then OpenAI is moving to level 2. And remember, level 2 is lawsuit territory. And that is why the question isn't if this is ethical. The question is this defensible? And I don't think OpenAI has that answer yet. Every company will start with level 1. They'll build something, they'll pass it on to the user. And anything goes wrong, user will be responsible. But sooner or later, AI gets more powerful, AI gets more autonomous, and things change. And before you know it, you will move to level 2 and then eventually to level 3. And that's gonna happen. There is no way to avoid it. And that is when you will not be asking the question if you can defend this ethically. You will be asking whether you can defend this legally. Which brings me to my third framework, and this is the one most companies are completely unprepared for. Because right now, AI governance is in a gray zone, which means no set rules, no industry standards, no regulatory framework. But that gray zone, it's about to close real fast. And when that happens, there's gonna be chaos. So let me show you what's coming and how you can get ahead of it. So the third framework is the governance question. Every AI company will have to answer these questions. Who's setting the rules and who is in charge? Now, just like the first 2 frameworks, there are 3 options in this framework as well. Number 1, self-regulation, and this is what OpenAI is doing right now. Companies will police themselves, which means advisory councils will be set up, internal safety teams will be there, there'll be voluntary guidelines. The advantage of option 1 is that it's fast, it's flexible, and it does not demand any bureaucracy. But the disadvantage is that there is no accountability. Companies can change the rules whenever they want to. Option number 2, industry standards. Companies agree on ethical guidelines. Think how medical industry has HIPAA, or maybe how finance has SOX compliance. Same way. The advantage of this is that it will build trust, it will level up the playing field, but the disadvantage is that it's going to be slow to establish and it will require cooperation from everyone, even the rivals. And number 3, government oversight. This is where the regulators step in and mandate rules. By the way, this is exactly what's happening in Europe with GDPR and the AI Act. Now, the advantages of these are that there'll be clear rules, there will be a legal enforceability, but the disadvantage would be bureaucracy. And of course, one size fitting all, well, that doesn't go well with fast moving techs. So right now, most AI companies are betting on option number 1. They're hoping that they can move fast, build trust, and avoid any kind of government regulation. But the reality is option 1 will work only till it doesn't, which means one major scandal. and everything moves to level 2 and eventually to level 3 and the government steps in. So the smart move here is to not wait right now but to start building your governance framework before you're forced to do it. But now let me tell you what I think about all of this. OpenAI is actually trying to do this responsibly. They're building age verification, they're setting up advisory councils, they're introducing new safeguards, and I'm sure they'll be doing this in the coming near future as well. But the concern is that we are stepping into an uncharted territory, sort of like a dark alley. You don't know what's going to happen at the end. And once millions of people start generating adult content, then I think the implications could be bigger than we think right now. So here's the framework I use to evaluate decisions like this. Question 1. Who benefits? In this case, adult users who want uncensored AI, developers who need flexible tools, OpenAI who gains market share. Question 2. Who's at risk? Minors who might bypass age verification, vulnerable users who might develop unhealthy dependencies, society if AI generated content creates unforeseen harms. Question 3. What's the worst case scenario? Not just a teenager sees porn, but systematic issues, addiction, exploitation, deepfakes, manipulation at scale. And what concerns me more is that OpenAI has a lot of problems to deal with. Instead of fixing those problems, they are focusing on something like this, and that's why my advice to every company adopting AI, every family member, every parent watching this, don't expect companies to protect you. Their job is to build profitable tools, and that's exactly what they're doing. Your job is to stay informed, stay updated, set the boundaries, and take control before the technology takes control of you. And specifically for the companies adopting AI right now, there has to be a framework, because if you don't have a framework, then you're gonna get crushed. Stay ahead of the conversation, because the companies that survive the AI era won't be the ones who move fastest, they'll be the ones who move thoughtfully.